We are back with the weekly lives. I know I have been a little minute. Y'all know I was out of the country, but your girl is back. And I just wanted to stop through. I'm about to actually go work out in a second. Um, but your girl is, I just wanted to stop by because my video just premiered. It's Money Monday, so I'm definitely back. I'm trying to get this thing right. So I'm definitely back with another Money Monday topic. Today's Money Monday topic, I definitely wanted to tie into the student loan business. I feel like, it's fine. We finally got the answers that we were looking for. It's a no-go, unfortunately, but there is a subgroup of people out there who they got checks back because they made payments during the student or during the pandemic. I'm sorry. So I wanted to talk to those people because y'all know that's why I was really watching. I wanted to see if Mama was going to be able to cash that check. And in case you were wondering, Mama was not. So um I definitely just wanted to talk to those folks and kind of get to you before, you just say, what, I'm finna go cash this sucker, right? I'm gonna have me a crap dinner. I'm gonna get that MacBook or whatever it is that you are hoping for, especially for people who got big checks back. Like, there are people, I could think of somebody who paid off like their whole balance during the pandemic and they put in for a refund too. And I'm pretty sure that was a nice little check. Like, that was a down payment on a nice house type of check. So, I think it's important just to kind of get this information out there so that everyone, is aware of what you should do if you got a check back because you made payments on your student loans during the payment pause. But in case y'all don't know, your girl decided to pay off all of her debt in September 2020. September 2020, I got tired. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I got tired of being broke. And I was like, you know what, I need to do something. And I saw an Instagram post from the Dave Ramsey, or from his show. Got hooked up with their program, and that was all she wrote. Your girl this month is a year of being debt free, so I'm very excited about that. I'll do a video about that later this month. Well, I need to celebrate. How should I celebrate my debt free anniversary? Oh my gosh, what do y'all think I should do? I don't know. But yeah, I definitely plan to do something. But yeah, so during that time, I paid off everything, like $43,000 worth of debt. I paid it off. Student loans were in there. I had $14,180. I took care of that in 9 months. So yeah, I ran through that sucker, like, for real. And then my last debt was my car. My car and my student loans were like neck and neck, but my car was probably more by like a few $100s. But I remember, y'all, in the beginning of the pandemic when they did the payment pause, right? I remember, like, people, they were like, okay, student loan payments have stopped. And one of the things that I don't think people really noticed in the beginning, that like the interest was on a pause. Like, we knew the payments were on a pause, but I don't think in the beginning, like, a lot of people knew that these loans were not accruing interest. Like, I know that didn't quite dawn on me at first, but my loans, the loans that I had left over, were subsidized. So I was a teacher for 5 years, y'all, special education teacher, worked in like Title I school. So I got 17,500 of that forgiven, because I had more of a balance, but I got 17,500 forgiven. And what was left over were subsidized loans, because they pay like the high interest and like the unsubsidized stuff first when they do that. So, and then I was in school, so either way my loans were not bearing interest anyway. But I remember even feeling that pull, like, oh girl, like, you need to move through this debt snowball so you can get there, right? Because there was always like, oh, another 6 months, oh, another 3 months here, until 3 years later we just finna end it in September. But Yeah, I remember that in the beginning, like a lot of folks were not like a lot of people did not quite like realize that. So I got to my student loans. I paid off the last one in January. I can't quite. Oh, I got to them in like spring. I guess was that spring of 2021, perhaps. I believe so. That's when I got to. That's when I got to paying on my student loans, and 9 months later, at the end of January, I remember I was sitting in my office at work and I paid them suckers off. I was so happy. And then that's when, I guess that was last year around this time, right? Grandpa, Biden was talking about that. Here's his student loan plan, and this was really like his campaign trail, like him really pushing like the student loan forgiveness, right? So finally we get to it, and he, announces the 20K for this, 10K for that, and then you could put in like your application for it, right? Now by the time that happened, I want to say I probably had already paid off my student loans, but I was like, I'm gonna just do the application anyway. I can't quite remember, had I paid them off, or was I like I think I did. Yeah, I think they had been paid off by then. But oh yeah, they did, because I did the application anyway because I wanted to do a video to talk about what it's asking, how to do it, blase blase. That's still in my shorts, I'm sure. So I did that, and then like I don't know if y'all remember, but remember like people was getting emails and it was like, hey, you were approved, like you like the student loan forgiveness is coming to you. And then they had to send another email after that was like, hey, this is not like there's been lawsuits that are currently stopping this, but once we win those lawsuits, then it's gonna come, child, please. But yeah, so all of that stuff happened. And so this was previous to the lawsuits, right? So because this was around this time last year, because I remember I was actually like at the Dave Ramsey show, and I was like in my hotel room, and I learned about the refund. So child, I called right then and there, and I was like, well, let me get my little 14,000 back. Y'all don't need it, so go on, hand it here, right? So I did that, and like I remember, so that was in August, right? Because I did my debt free scream in August 2022. Girl, it come just a few months later, November's when these lawsuits started coming out, right? So there were the two people who sued. Well, I guess it was one person who sued because they thought that them not being able to get the full 20K was not fair. And then the state, I guess like one of the states sued on behalf of Mohila, something like that. So basically that put a monkey wrench in the whole thing, and everything came to a halt. So by the time the lawsuits came out, we had already, y'all know I've been following this thing. So we had already heard that, okay, February, they're going to do opening arguments. That was February 28th. And then once the opening arguments happened, they were like, okay, the Supreme Court is going to make a decision by June 30th, which just happened this past Friday. So with all of that talk, I'm just like, well, they wouldn't be still processing checks. Like, that wouldn't make sense now, would it? Because this is not like a go. So why would they process, a check for a refund for student loan forgiveness if student loan forgiveness has not happened? I just assume that, right? Because by that time, Fed loan was no longer servicing loans. I paid off my student loans like right before then. So I'm like, okay, like I'm probably not gonna get that check. It's fine. It is what it is. As long as my loan's paid off. Fast forward to February, like around Valentine's Day, I'm checking my emails and I get the mail preview service so I can see my mail, right? Girl, I see like I got a check from the Department of Ed, and I'm like, what would I be getting a check for? Like, I ain't overpaid. I know I ain't overpaid no taxes or nothing like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, it could only be one thing. It could only be that student loan like stuff, right? But I was like, really? Like, no. So I get back home, check my mail, and sure enough, there's that check for $14,180 and some cents. And I was like, are they freaking serious? And then by that time, I had learned that, you're getting a refund on your payment for your balance to come right back, which was like, what? So it could be forgiven. I just feel like, see, it's those little trickery ways that like the government will play at times, or just like I just did not like that. Like that did not sit right with my spirit, because why would you do that? Like, why would you refund a check on the premise of something that is not, that a monkey wrench was thrown in it because there were lawsuits coming out? Like, that just did. I wouldn't be surprised if people still get checks. Like, because I did that in August and I get it to February, so I would not be surprised that people are still getting checks after this thing has clearly said it's a no, right? So I was like, well, I'm gonna just hold on to it and we just gonna wait. So yeah, I held on to that check, y'all, for some months until, this past weekend. Once the news came out, and I was like, okay, well, and I was talking to my friend. I was like, well, I guess I got to go cash it so I can give it back. And she was like, no, call the student loan servicer, ask them, can they stop payment on the check because you haven't cashed it. So ask them, can they stop payment on it or cancel it? And I was like, yeah, you're right, because that would be easier. Because like a check that amount, like you got to wait like a few days for that sucker to clear. And it was gonna take some time, like, for that to happen. Like, that probably wasn't gonna be cleared to probably by the end of the week, especially if you ain't never cashed a check that big. And then I feel like when black folks do stuff like that, like, they really be eyeing you and they gonna make you wait the full, wait period. So, um, so I called the student loan servicer, and by that time, because Fed Loan had stopped servicing loans, so once my balance came back, I got transferred to another loan servicer. So I had already like logged in and saw my account and stuff and saw that my balance was back and all that terrible stuff, which really like freaked me out. Cause like after paid off your debt and stuff, like the only debt I ever want to see again is a mortgage. Like that's the only thing like I want to see, right? So that kind of freaked me out a little, but I'm like, it's okay, Alexis. Either way it goes, like the balance is going to be paid, right? Cool. So I called, and like a child right after that news came out, because I was on my iPad that morning just refreshing on the Supreme Court website hearings thing. So like once it came out, like I already knew. So I called like immediately, because I'm like, you already know the lines are gonna be tied up today. People gonna be calling, probably asking about this, right? So I called, got through right away, and I could tell like the person, like she wasn't quite sure, because I'm like, hey, I got this check back. I haven't cashed it, still have it. What should I do? Or can y'all cancel it, or can y'all stop payment on the check? So she was like, okay, well, let me put you on hold because I just want to, double check. And she put me on hold, and then she came back and she was like, so if you have not cashed the check, you're going to write void on it, or just destroy it, or both. And then we can stop payment on the check. And what we'll do is that you will see within like by July 11th, she said, like your account, would go back to, zero. You'll get a paper in your inbox, so just be checking for that. And I don't know if it's because I just done got older, but when you call and make a payment on something, or you do anything, like you want to have like a confirmation number or something. So I'm like, is there like a confirmation number or anything? She was like, no, there's no confirmation number, but you will just see that letter, within your files. So just be checking your inbox and check it, by July 11th. She said, it could happen before then, or it could take a few days after that, but that's just the estimated time frame. I was like, okay, no problem. So it was pretty, easy for me because I hadn't cashed it. But I think about all the folks who, in the beginning, it sounded like it was a sure thing, right? Grandpa was just real sure, child. Just as sure as he fell off that bike, he was very sure that this was gonna happen. And I just think about the people who may have cashed those checks on the strength of that, and who knows, what they may have used it for. And then I also think about how, this really would have boosted the economy, because I was like, I was gonna buy me a MacBook. I'm gonna still get my MacBook, but I'm just do a savings fund for it. I was gonna buy me a MacBook, but I also was gonna just put the rest away, for like a housing fund. So it's just like those little things that, like, yeah, it would have boosted the economy. It would have helped just a lot of people. Now, I ain't gonna lie, for you six-figure people, for you people that's close to that 20,000 wasn't gonna do a doggone thing. So, you was really gonna have to still put some muscle behind it. But even still, it does give people, just a little, one up, like a head, to just get right and to try to be encouraged to get on the right path. And then think about people who had 20K or less. who had 10K or less. That was really going to assist them. But it also got me thinking, like, I just kind of felt like once the Supreme Court came back and said, like, hey, you can't do this without going through Congress. And that's literally what the other side was saying the whole time. I'm like, it's not like Grandpa is new to this. He's true to this at this point. He knows, like, he knows the laws and how these things work. Like, I'm like, I feel like he knew that, but maybe he was just hoping, that he was gonna sway up in the SCOTUS's, back room. I don't know, but then people was like, "No, ma'am." So now they're talking about going another way, which is through the Higher Education Act. I haven't done like a lot of research on that per se, but I plan to look into it just a little more to see the difference between that and the HEROES Act, and why wouldn't you just go that way first if that was more of a sure thing. So like they're kind of saying it is, or let me not say that. I don't know if they're saying it's a sure thing, but they act like they confident in going that way. I mean, they supposed to act like they're not confident, but still. But that's what they're talking about now. Okay, we're going to go through the Higher Education Act, and it's going to take longer though, but we're not going to give up. And I'm just like, is you even still going to be in office by then? My Lord. For the people who are waiting on that. Now, my premise is that, listen, you need to get a plan, and you need to do something about them loans, because I would not be, listen, after this part, I feel like the fact that we got to the Supreme Court, I applaud him for that. I think, that showed that, he was trying to do something, whatever. But I also, feel like, okay, it's done. Like, they have already said what cannot be done. That's the highest court in the land. If it was going to be a thing, it was going to be a thing there, right? But no, it's not a thing, and it's important for folks to make a plan and not just succumb to debt, and just say, oh, I'm just be in debt all my life. Everybody got debt. Everybody got student loans. Like, I don't. I mean, yes, that balance does say $14,000, but listen, y'all, I told them to cancel the check, okay? So technically, I don't. But, I think it's important for folks to really get serious about this. And then it's just a reminder that, once again, you cannot wait on the government for nothing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you just can't. You cannot wait on the government. Clearly, they is not worried about the people. Because, I mean, if it, like, this would have helped folks, it would have. But I also, on the flip side, I do agree that, if you're going to forget a loans, then there needs to be something done about the overall system, because what you already know, somebody was going to have 20K forgiven and wasn't going to take out 20 the next semester. So, and that would have just been silly, So I do agree with that argument that, there has to be an overhaul of the whole system, because it is an issue, especially somebody who worked in higher education for the last 4 years. Yeah, like, it's a problem. It's definitely, people cannot afford to go to school without sacrificing their first child. Like, it is insane. It doesn't make any sense, and it's not, it's not fair. It's not equal at all. Especially, I think a lot of rulings came out last week that was like, ooh, child, that whole affirmative action thing. It's a lot going on in education right now, y'all. It's a lot going on in America. Like, you got to stay on guard. You got to be informed, okay? But yeah, if you got a refund because you made payments during the payment pause, what you need to do is call your student loan servicer. First off, figure out who it is, because many student loan folks have stopped servicing them, which is a little like, why they getting out the student loan game? Definitely figure out who that is. You can go on the Department of Ed's website. You probably got an email about it or something in the mail about it already. Call them. If you have not cashed a check, ask them, hey, could you please stop payment or, cancel this check? They're going to say write void on it and or destroy it. And then it'll take like a week or two for the adjustment to hit the account. And definitely, I always say, like, print out them papers, save it to the cloud, save it to a file. That is very, very important. So yeah, as that happens, like as that gets updated, my balance, I'll definitely update y'all on that. In addition, don't forget my $5 e-guide. Listen, $5 to kind of get a, not kind of, to get a plan to get on the right financial track. You cannot beat that. The link is in the description box, not of this video, but it is in my video that just premiered, and I'll put it in this video as well. So if you haven't watched that video, be sure to check that out. I greatly appreciate y'all support. I see my watch time going up. It's really the highest that it's ever been, and I've been on YouTube for some time now, so I know that y'all are watching. So thank you so much for your support. I'm also going to be sending out a letter to my email subscriber list, or probably tomorrow, if not sometime this week before the end of the week. So definitely get your freebie. I have a freebie on how I paid off my student loans within 9 months. Get that freebie. It's free for you, and then you'll be subscribed to my email list so that I could send you little blurbs each week, some things that I haven't like even sent out just to like my general folks, pictures from my trip in Israel. So check that out as well. Or you will be able to check that out if you're on my email subscriber list. So get your freebie. I have several different freebies out there, so be sure to grab yours. This Wednesday I'll be recording again. I gotta look at my calendar to see what I'm recording about, but yeah, we'll be back with another video as well. And y'all, I am about to go and work out. I see I got a like, so thank you for your support and watching my live. But yeah, I'm about to go and just get me a little walk on. I have some shorts geared up for tonight, so y'all be sure to check that out. And I'm gonna see y'all next time. Do not cash from student loan payments, y'all. Don't do it. I know it's so tempting. Trust me. I know it is so tempting. Don't cash it. Don't do it. Call your student loan servicer, have them to cancel it, have them to stop payment on it, and just, chalk it up to the game and thank the Lord them things paid. All right. I'm going to see y'all later. Bye.